Live, we are recording live, no editing. There has been an emergency ban list for a tier 0 deck. Now, let's see what it is. August 6th is when this will be implemented. Gaga Head in Rhino Bus. I know what you're thinking. What the heck? Digital Bugs became tier 0 while you were gone for how many months? Well, Digital Bugs did nothing wrong. And this is what made Onomat's tier 0. But you just said they did nothing wrong. Well, the deck type, Digital Bugs did nothing wrong. And the Digital Bug Rhino Bus itself, by itself, did not make the deck tier 0. We're going to see what happened. We're going to go to the story of tier 0 Onomats. Gaga Head also being hit. This is for their reason. It says, we're limiting this card to prevent the number of times this single monster can increase monsters on the field, which enables players to exceed summon a monster. That is probably the worst explanation I have ever seen on a ban list in all ban list history. That does not even make sense. This is the ultimate comeback monster. Whatever this said, that's gibberish. It must be a bad translation or some fool wrote this. It would be better just be blank, all right? This is an ultimate comeback card. What the deck would do is after their amazing turn 1 play, they would make a Rhino Bus. Then on turn 2, they would use their consistency skill a second time to search for Gaga Head, where whether you have no field or just one monster on the field, this would be a huge comeback. You could summon it. It could go into a rank 6 Exceed, draw a card, deal with a card in the field, and deal lethal damage off of this one card. So this was the ultimate comeback card with the consistency skill on him on a play. Now, what happened with Rhino Bus? Let's look at this. Tier 0 Onomats. By the way, you could test out version 3 of the website, which should be coming out soon. If you join on YouTube or subscribe on Twitch, we have an open beta within the Discord so you can report bugs. Thank you very much. Let's look at the history of the deck. Let's type in Onomats. Onomats in June 29th was tier 2. July 4th, they became tier 1. July 19th, they became tier 0. So what happened between June 29th and July 4th? Well, looking right here, June 30th, the latest release, Darkness Gimmick, was released on June 30th. So what are boxes good for? How does Konami make money? They make money through the ultra rares and super rares. So what they did was they set up the box. We got the Quattro. We got the feet. Unfortunately, this deck was not top tier. But then, after they figured out all the super rare and ultra rares, the optimal way to make money, they then figured out, let's release the rest of Inzectors, right? Why not? Inzectors are not going to be good, so let's just give them all the Inzectors, right? They did. They gave us every single Inzector card after deciding the super and ultra rares besides the Link Summon, but that is when Tier 0 was born. It was not Inzectors, but it was an Inzector card. Exa Beetle. They accidentally put this card in the box as a rare, and this rare, not a super rare, not an ultra rare, this card single-handedly is what made Onomats a tier 1 into a tier 0 deck. It also greatly boosted Thunder Dragons. Let's see what the deck looked like. So as you can see, this is the dominance of Onomats. 100 to the next place being 33, 32. Extremely dominant. Now, let's see what the deck looked like. This is what the deck looked like. It's already a deck that's hit by a semi-limit. We have Sister at 2, so they can only play one other semi-limit. And now the Rhino Bus is going to be at 2. This is actually, yes, this is what the deck looked like. That's it. So Gaga Head, Gaga Sister, Treacherous, and Rhino Bus. This is illegal by 2 cards. This is what Tier 0 looked like. It was Tier 0 because you would use Onum on a play to return a card to add your Sister. Then with Sister and Coat, you would make your turn 1 Rhino Bus. Rhino Bus during your opponent's turn was a quick effect, quick removal, non-targeting removal. If they summon a monster, if they activate anything, you could detach material and destroy the highest defense on their field, which means if you're playing a Harpy deck and you wanted to play Swallow Nest to dodge destruction, you wouldn't dodge the destruction. Usually you use Swallow Nest to dodge something bad happening to your Harpy, but the newly summoned Harpy would then get destroyed. So that's why non-targeting removal is a big problem, which created this tier 0 deck. This also, after removal, was able to deal piercing damage, 2,600 through defense. Now, what is the deck going to look like? Are people going to still play Rhino Bust? Are they going to play head? After making the turn 1 Rhino Bust, they would then next turn grab the head from the deck to then have their big follow-up play, make an M7, return a card in the field back to the hand, going for lethal. Boom. This is also another way, actually, before we get to how the new way to play the deck is going to be, this is another way people were playing Onomats. Now, many people were arguing that this build was not tier 0, that this build was tier 1 and this was tier 0, this one. But this is triple head, double sister, so much follow-up, not playing the doo-doo draw, not playing any doo-doo monsters. You could play more back row. And this is more of a control build, which this build is obviously super dead. So what is the tier 0 deck going to look like now? Will it still be tier 0? It's not going to be, but many people are arguing that it's still going to be tier 1. This is what the deck will likely look like. And I've actually seen some people discussing taking out the head to still play Rhino Bust. Playing Rhino Bust in this version of the deck right now is illegal, unless he takes out the sister or the head. You don't take out the sister because the sister allows you to make your rank 6 exceed. So instead of making your turn 1 Rhino Bust, you're going to make your turn 1 Bouncer. And the next turn, you will follow up with Gaga Head, still making the deck very, very good. So thank you, Che, for this. Now, what other decks were impacted by the Rhino Bust being semi-limited? Let's look at Thunder Dragons. This is a Thunder Dragon deck that was abusing Rhino Bust. And Thunder Dragons greatly rely on semi-limited Charge Light Brigade. So when another card is semi-limited, you can't play that in addition to playing 2 semi-limited cards. Now with Charge Light Brigade in here, what are they going to do? They might play 1 Charge, 1 Rhino Bust to still play it. I don't know. We'll see. Here's another version of Thunder Dragons being hit, where instead of using the Charge Light Brigade, they're using Gold Sark. Gold Sark will banish from the deck, trigger an effect. Now they'd have to play 1 Sark, 1 Rhino Bust, or play 2 Sark and not play Rhino Bust. Now, what is the deck going to look like? Boom. Here is someone, Rex Cruz, playing 1 Gold Sark, 1 Rhino Bust. The Rhino Bust is that good to forego your second Gold Sark, and now you're going to play Rhino Bust and 1 Sark. I'm not sure if everyone agrees with this, but this is an early build of an Anytime tournament. He won $8 with this. Now, there is some collateral damage here. The Onomat deck, tier 0, is the main reason they did this emergency ban list, but some other decks got hit. Heretics is not a top deck, not a top tier deck. Barely anyone's even playing it, but this got hit because it's a deck that could easily make the Rhino Bust. A lot of players are playing enemy controller to trigger the tribute effects of the Heretics. And now you're not going to be able to play that as much with the Rhino Bust. You only play 1 Econ or 1 Treacherous. A very slight hit, but still a hit. Inzectors. They are the root of the problem, right? They don't even play Exabeetle. Are you kidding me? Exabeetle, which caused the tier 0 mess we were in, is not even played in Inzectors. So this was the cause while also not being the cause, because it's not even playing Exabeetle, it's playing Exastag. Also, another deck that got hit, Digital Bugs. Now, here's a deck that literally did nothing wrong. This is a spicy win streak. Thank you, Architect. Many people are not playing this deck, but there you go. They are a deck that would play 2 Rhino Busts, not playing Exabeetle, can no longer play semi-limits in the main deck. Hey, it's a 22-card deck. Now you're a 20-card deck. And there is the lead up into, why didn't they just limit this? Why? Why did they semi-limit the Rhino Bust and not the Exabeetle? If they semi-limited the Exabeetle, then the Digital Bugs, nothing would have happened. Nothing would have happened to Inzectors. Well, nothing would have happened to Inzectors because they're going to use Rhino Bust, but not Exabeetle. Heretics still would have been hit. Thunder Dragons would have still been hit. Onomats would have still been hit. But at least Digital Bugs and Inzectors themselves would have not been hit. but I know the answer why. The reason they did not hit this is because it's new. Literally, that's it. It is the better card to semi-limit, but they didn't because it just came out. And there you go. That's the story of Tier 0 Onomats. Probably the weakest Tier 0 deck we've ever seen in Duel Links, but within its own format, within its own meta, compared to the other decks. We're not comparing this to Tier 0 Dark Lords or Tier 0 Six Samurai. Within this meta, it was, hands down, the best deck. And if you were not playing Onomats, I would say you're just playing incorrectly. You're playing at a massive disadvantage. That's the video, unedited. Watch me on twitch.tv/duellinksmeta. Chat, maybe give your impression of the ban list. Did you invest in the deck recently because you saw it was Tier 1, Tier 0, and then it got nerfed? Does that make you upset? Did it deserve a nerf? Are you upset about digital bugs? Are you upset about heretics? Are you upset about injectors? I see a yikes. I see a YouTube. Hey, what the? All right, thank you. Let's go straight to YouTube.